Hello ladies and gentlemen boys, welcome to the Stamina Warden PvP build for the Elsweyr Chapter. This is my personal build that I will publish you now. So let's get right into it. First off, we are Nord. We're choosing Nord because of the passives. The passives are max health and cold resistance. Being said, you are not being able to get shield status effect from enchantments. Max stamina, 5 ultimate every 10 seconds while in combat, or while you take damage. 4k physical and spell resistance to bulk up your resistances. As gear, we are using 2 Bloodsworn in medium, 5 Fury, 2 on a body, 3 on a jewelry, and 5 Fortified Brass, 3 medium on a body, and weapons. All armor traits impenetrable, big piece is Tri-Stat, the jewelry 1 protective stamina recovery, and 2 infused weapon damage. Front bar 2-hand mace in the Nirnhorn trait, back bar infused berserker enchant, and in sturdy maximum stamina shield. For the Mundus, we are running the Serpent, and for buff food and potions, we are using Essence of Immovability that makes us immune to knockback and disabling, gives us health and stamina, plus boosting also our recoveries in these stats. As the second option of potions, I use Essence of Lingering Health, that gives me 1k health every second for 48 seconds, and Major Vitality, that increases my healing taken by 30%. Healing taken also boosts your own healing. And as the third option as potions, I use Stealth Detection and Immune to Knockback and Disabling. The Magicka in it is just handy, you don't need it. For foods, you can use Dubious Cameron Throne or Arteum Takeaway Broth. They both gave almost the same stats. Do keep in mind, Arteum Takeaway Broth give you more health recovery, what stacks with other abilities and things. Let's go now into the skills and talk about that. Please have the Alchemy Medicinal Use passive, because it will greatly enhance the performance of your potions that you are taking. For Alliance War, use the first and the last passive. For support, the last 2 passives, and obviously Vigor and Charging Maneuver. I think the Charging Maneuver is a bit better than the base morph or the Retreating Maneuver, simply because it also gives us minor expedition when we get dismounted, and so on. Keep in mind, this skill ends when you cast an ability. For the guilds, Fighters Guild, Dawnbreaker of Smiting, and all the other passives, the first one is not needed, but if you sometimes want to do a dungeon, it can come in handy. It also reduces the Fighters cost, stamina, Fighters Guild stamina costs, so you kinda want to have them. Undaunted, the passives, and the rest is not important. Armor, we do use medium armor, so you want to have all medium armor passives. Heavy armor, only the first 3 are important, since we only use 2 heavy pieces. For weapons, we use the 2-hand. For backbar, we use sword and shield. For classes, you want to have all passives of the classes, and some abilities. Now let's talk about the abilities. Front bar first. We're using forward momentum because it gives us snare removal and immunity for 4 seconds. It also gives us around 1k health every 2 seconds, what is equal to 450 to 500 health recovery. Mentioned before with Arteum Takeaway Broth, really handy. The main focus of this ability is Major Brutality, but increase weapon damage by 20% for 33 seconds. The second ability we are using is Reverse Slice. We're using AoE Execute because our abilities are all AoE and really bursty. The third skill on our bar is Subterranean Assault. It's very cheap. It's an AoE Major Fracture ability. With Elsweyr it can be blocked. Keep that in mind. Resolve in Vigor, a very great heal over time, very basic for all stamina builds. Bird of Prey, reworked with the Elsweyr Chapter. It's now 800 Magicka cheaper. It gives us Major Expedition for 6 seconds. It's now called the Rule Breaker skill, because all other sources of Major Expedition gives us Major Expedition only for 4 seconds. While slotted, you gain mana at Berserk, increasing damage done by 8%, and our ultimate on the front bar is Dawnbreaker of Smiting. That is basically our stun and our main boost. For the back bar, we are using Shimmering Shield. This ability grants us 3 projectile absorption, and every time we absorb a projectile, we gain Magicka back and Major Heroism for 6 seconds. The second ability is Green Lotus. You can exchange this, but I will talk about that later. It restores health for every light and heavy attack you do on an opponent or an ally. You gain also Major Savagery, what increases your critical rating by 10% for 20 seconds. The third ability is Bull Edge. It gives us 400 stamina recovery, and Major Savagery and Major Brutality. And the Major Savagery and the Major Savagery buff from this ability also affects healing, leeching vines, heal over time. Our fourth ability is Leeching Vines, what basically gives you vines on your body, and every opponent that attacks you, you get health from him, plus it also heals you for a small amount. The fifth ability is Ice Fortress. This is basically the main and base resistance buff. It gives you Major Resolve and Major Ward of 50 to 80 for 24 seconds, plus minor protection, reducing your damage taken by 8%. And as an ultimate, using Spell Wall, it reflects all projectiles and blocks all attacks automatically for 7 seconds. So now let's talk about the flag spots. So as a flag spot, on the front bar basically you don't have a flag spot. But what you could do is you could remove Subterranean Assault and put it on the back bar, removing Lotus for it. And now you have one slot on the front bar free, what you can use for Crit Rush or Carve. Carve got reworked in the Elsweyr patch as well, so it deals now more damage, but it removes the minor heroism. Another possibility could be your slot, since if you have a bit more struggling surviving, then you could use Soothing Spores on the back bar instead of Lotus, or even the ultimate can be exchanged through Healing Thicket or Permafrost. Additionally, you can also use Heroic Slash for minor heroism or Reverberating Bash for a reliable stun on your back bar. So this was about the skills. Now let's go into the CP. We're starting off on the CP with the Apprentice, 43 into Blessed, 72 in Master at Arms and 27 into Physical Weapon Expert. Now we're using 72 points into Master at Arms because our main focus is pumping out as much damage as we can in a short amount of time. And since Master at Arms pushes our immediate damage, like our burst, like the first tick of the Dawnbreaker, the initial hit, your light and heavy attacks, your subterranean, your execute, and so on, this comes very handy. Physical Weapon Expert, because we don't have a real spammable, it's advised to put some points in here. Furthermore, we have 51 points into Precise Strikes for more crit healing and more critical damage, since we don't have any spammable. 43 into Mighty, what increases also our Subterranean furthermore, because it's a poison damage attack. and 34 into piercing, just to penetrate a bit more armor from our opponent. And the red tree, we're using 61 ironclad because we want to be safe against counterbursts, 49 into resistance to push up our critical resistance, 51 into thick skinned, 43 hardy, 43 elemental defender, just basic resistances for damage over time or magic damage and so on, and 23 into quick recovery because healing received also counts for healing that we are done. 37 into sprinter, 61 into warlord, 32 into mooncalf, 23 into tenacity, 51 tumbling, and 66 shadow ward. We're using a bit more into shadow ward because we block a lot more on that build. Just some basic cost reduction on dodge rolling. We don't need mooncalf that much because we have a lot of recovery already. Tenacity because we do a lot of heavy attacks, so we can also then restore some resources. And sprinter because we're not an orc, but we still want to line our sight sufficiently without running out of stamina all the time. And warlord, so we can also reduce the cost of our break freeze, since a lot of people stunning a lot in the sheer sword and board meta. You could put a point in Siphoner, but since we are not stacking any bleeds or dots or any other negative effects, it's not really worth putting a point in it. This is the CP. Now, let's talk about the poisons. I use drain stamina poisons that give me more recovery and increase the cost of the stamina abilities. These also mean break free, dodge rolling, and so on. Therefore, Magicka classes have big time to dodge roll away from our bursts or block them, and etc. So just use this poison. You could also use double health poison or the poison that gives you health and make a bit of damage, and this 2 times. So it's a double hot, double dot poison. I will link the poisons with screenshots in the description down below, so you can just click on it, see the ingredients and the effects of it. Same with the potions. I hope that build helped you, and if it did, just give a like. If it didn't, give it a dislike. If you have any questions, write them in the comment section down below, and see you on the next one. Cheers!